Hello everybody, hope you're doing well and welcome back to a brand new video. This one's a really interesting video. So I'm going to be doing more work to incorporate relics into the videos that I make and also into some of the champions that I'm ranking up and kind of like try to find out which is the best relic and kind of like test them out with champions. And I think the main one that I wanted to do some stuff with first off was Overseer. It's my first ever rank 5 6-star champion, so I decided that I would kind of pair the champion up with a relic. The relic in question that I've gone with is a Hulk relic, and the Hulk relic that I've got is a 3-star one. Now for the time I did have a 4-star version, which is here. Now there's a good reason as to why I stopped pairing the 4-star unawakened version with the awakened version being better as an option. The Hulk relic becomes like a better option for me, mainly because, as it says here, gaining regeneration effect or inflicting a disorient or stun effect, excluding parry, inflicts an indefinite physical vulnerability passive on the opponent, lowering their physical resistance by X amount, and defensive tank champions increase the potency of this ability. Now, for the astute among you, you'll know one clear-cut thing about Overseer. Well, actually three. Number one, on his special attack, he gets regeneration buff when in cosmic mode, and also gets a stun. There's also an SP2 disorient debuff as well. This means that the champion is in a prime position to gain from that particular relic and also the rune choice that you have with it. So you'll be able to get more of the physical vulnerability and also the potency of that physical vulnerability. Paired with an SP3 rotation with physical vulnerability can be very helpful. But it may change your whole kind of playstyle if you're kind of looking to play with a champion and also go for these short to medium long fights. It's personally up to you how you choose to play Overseer. Some people opt for an SP1 rotation method, but for me, I'm more of a case of building up to an SP3 whilst, you know, building up the gamma power. So build up your gamma power and also build up your special concussion. So it's the debuff versus the gamma power kind of like built up. I like to build up to 7. SP3. Sometimes I do like to do a parry and then shoot off the SP3, but since adding the relic, it means that I can just do build up to SP3, do the relic activation, I think there, relic activation, and so you get that passive stun, shoot off the SP3, then when you come out of the SP3, medium, light, in order to kind of like activate more kind of burst damage. And that's the way I like to play it. Now, you play the champion how you feel and see fit, but that's personally what I like about the champion. At the end of the day, relics are here to stay regardless of what we think about them. And yes, they're an extra complexity, especially when you account 7 stars and as well stat focus into the mix. So you can really play into some fun little things to go, okay, well, let's change out some stuff. Let's add this, take this out. So one thing that I did for the start point of this video is to look at what is the best rune. Now, it will be down to personal opinion as to this, but I feel physical resistance is more kind of geared towards, and look, you can change them out as you go between like different kinds of like fights and interactions, but I would say that physical resistance is more of a case of like if you're obviously looking to kind of like stack something or interacts with something in particular, and it may not be applicable for Overseer. The other one is physical resistance down, opponent's physical resistance is lowered, which is the one that I went with and I like the most, as I kind of felt this was able to interact more with the physical vulnerability, the elements of burst damage that the champion does, and the passives that come up as well for debuff passives. So that is something that I kind of felt like, okay, well, this is the way to go with this one. But I thought for the video it'd be really interesting if I tested out like regeneration, and even though there's kind of there is something on there like, you know, regeneration potency up, 1.60% regeneration effect potency, and do bear in mind Overseer does regen. So I thought this would be interesting to try out as to like, okay, well, how good is this? Does it feel different? Does it look different? Very difficult to kind of get a very correct thing because you need champion at the same level each time. Because if you know Overseer, you'll know that the champion has a percentage based on the amount that's been lost to gain it back again, which you can see right here on the SP1, where it's on activation, gain regeneration buff, recovering 7% of missing health over 10 seconds. So it's not going to be as easy to get that particular stuff on screen. We're going to try though. Here we go. Now you're going to have to take my word from this that these are changes of the types of the, you can see on screen right, regeneration. The different type is, this rune is the physical vulnerability rune, which you can see we've got 85% health and we're 84, and then we're going 36 per tick. Now again, like I'm sure people will say like, oh, that's not correct, is it? Well, look, 33 there, and you can see going down, starting off there at 82%, so it's a 2% difference of when it started in that previous clip. 42, and it will go down to I think 39. So I think it's pretty much there, but I may have had a margin of error with it. But it definitely looks like it's a thing that improves the regeneration. Honestly, it's so tough to get champions at the same percentage level and try and do the same kind of comparative fight. So yeah, apologies if that didn't come off completely, but I think you knew what I was trying to get from this one. Maybe it's a case it's like a 1 or 2 extra regen per tick situation within a recovery mastery. Maybe that came off, I don't know. So the point of this video, something that I wanted to kind of showcase, which is on screen by the way, we've got this kind of change of rotation and narrative in that if you want to get more physical vulnerability on the champion, which look is an important thing for the champion, you might want to SP1 rotate in order to get those triggering effects. As we said, the triggering effects in order to get more physical vulnerability for the champion, which also is, you know, is cool for the damage output. We'll be doing SP1s with cosmic mode and also doing SP2 rotations in order to, which is on screen, to get the disorient debuff there, and also shoot off a striker in order to again get that that particular type of effect on the champion for the awakened relic ability. There's just so much stuff, and that the particular one is blunt force trauma. Like it's tough to kind of look at this because you can see on screen right now, like building up their physical vulnerability takes away from a normal rotation that may be better for the champion in operation. Like for me, as I said at the start of this video, I said that my favorite rotation was building up to an SP3, in that time doing at least 7 special concussion, and then it's a case of when all gamma power has been reached, which I think is 6, then throwing an SP3 and then kind of like maximizing a rotation through that, or throwing a striker first, then the SP3 with that in operation. And that's the way I like to play, which we saw footage of that at the start of this video. So yeah, even though this physical vulnerability build is good, and I see on screen right now is Labyrinth of Legends kind of like footage of just going in and just being as aggressive as possible, and I did get really bored by doing this kind of rotation of trying to build up physical vulnerability, and I just kind of went all mush, to be honest, after like playing it, and it's just a case of like I like the rotation that I like, and that's the biggest thing when it comes to MCOC and champions. Is like people will say you're not playing the champion right, but at the same time you are getting a result from it. It may be slightly less in some ways, because I'm sure people will be like, no, you do this rotation with Overseer, and other people are like, no, you do this rotation with Overseer. But as I said, my favorite rotation with this champion, and especially finding this relic kind of sweet spot, is those medium to long fights, those 30 to 50k health pool fights, and also those 300k plus fights, is to build up to an SP3. Even better when you got suicide masteries, by the way. All of this footage was non-suicide masteries. So building up with that relic to an SP3, firing off, and it'd be great if I had suicide masteries, by the way, which we've seen footage in the past of it doing so well. I couldn't create it on the content creator beta for some reason. It just wouldn't allow me to do it, and I don't know why. It was weird. But yeah, the point. And I like using a relic with this champion. I like the build to the SP3. After we've done the special concussion, doing those punishing of special attacks, building up the gamma power, firing an SP3 off, or just before firing a striker to get that passive stun. And then it's a case of like, right, well, we're just going to melt the champion's damage. I like that rotation. So I really do like relics with this particular champion. I like the Hulk relic, I think, the most, especially because it's got that element of burst damage, improving, not by a huge amount. And a little interesting stat, which I may have put up in a video, I'm not quite sure, is that with the relic, I got 9,170 burst damage. It went to 11k when Assassin was hit at 15%. But without the relic, I was doing 8,958 non-suicide mastery based, setup for this champion. But yeah, that's really, I don't want to make this a long video or an extensive video, but I wanted to kind of like at least cover the extent of how I enjoy this champion, how I enjoy the rotation of the champion, and yeah, that's been it. Have you got another pair up that you think is equally good, if not better, when it comes to Overseer, or a science-based relic that you think is good? Put it in the comment section down below, and I'm going to look into some more relic content in the future as well. But thanks for watching. Check out some other content, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.